Hello and welcome to the lecture series on human resource management. So, in the previous couple of lectures, we have started the topic of compensation and benefits, which is yet another crucial and integral function of the human resource management departments, because ultimately it is the compensation or the monetary as well as the non-monetary benefits that the organization offers to its employees in return of their work, which helps employees to be retained and motivated to work. Apart from them, it also helps the organization to attract the best talent in the market. But compensation and benefits is a very broad topic, and it encompasses a number of things apart from simply designing a good compensation structure or a good benefits structure. So, today we all know and we understand the fact that the organizations, they are operating in the VUCA world, that is volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous. And why we say that organizations are operating in a VUCA world? Because a lot of things are changing at a very fast pace, and because of these changes, at times many things, they become ambiguous, they become uncertain. These changes are related to the environment, these changes may be related to the technological advancements that are occurring again at a very fast pace, and technology we all know is changing at the blink of an eye. So, how do organizations cope up when there is so much of uncertainty? Apart from technological advancements, there are number of times where the customers, their demands also change. The trends are changing, what customer wants is changing. So, how do organizations cope with all these changes when once, maybe today you are a profitable business, but down the lane or maybe after 2 or 3 years you feel that your business has become obsolete. The products you are offering are no longer demanded. So, what do organizations, how do organizations cope up when dealing with such a complex and ambiguous environment? So, friends, today we are going to learn about two broad strategies that organizations may take up in order to reduce their size so that they can still be profitable. So, these two topics that we would be discussing today are downsizing and the voluntary retirement schemes, or the VRS. So, downsizing and voluntary retirement schemes, these are considered to be critical tools in the arsenal of human resource management, often employed during periods of organizational restructuring or economic downturns. So, even if you want to restructure your organization, downsizing and VRS is applicable, or in times of economic downturns, they still can be used. So, downsizing broadly involves reducing the workforce to improve the efficiency of the organization, cutting costs, or maybe even adapting to the changing market conditions. And in contrast, the VRS, it offers employees the choice to voluntarily exit the organization, usually with the help of some financial incentives that are provided by the organization, of course, and this is a more humane alternative to forced layoffs. So, both the strategies while effective in achieving short-term financial objectives, they do present significant challenges in terms of managing employee morale, maintaining organizational culture, and navigating the legal and the ethical considerations. So, no matter the strategy is downsizing or it is a VRS, the employee morale is definitely hurt. The culture changes a little bit, and then both encompass legal and ethical issues and legal and ethical concerns, be it downsizing or be it your VRS. So, understanding the nuances of these approaches is essential for HR professionals who are tasked with balancing the organizational needs with the well-being of employees. So, as an HR professional, it is your duty to be a bridge between the well-being of employees and to cater to the organizational needs as well. So, what we are going to learn today is, number one, what is downsizing? We will understand the concept of downsizing, what are the features, the reasons why downsizing is done. Then we will learn as to what is the human resource management's role in downsizing, very important from the aspect of somebody who wants to be an effective HR professional, that what is your role when the organization thinks of downsizing, what are the methods of downsizing, then what is the impact of downsizing, because certainly when you are downsizing, when you are planning to lay off your employees, there would be certain emotional, psychological impacts on the people who are leaving the organization, or I would say who are forced to leave the organization, as well as the people who are left behind. And then we will learn about the concept of VRS, that is the voluntary retirement scheme, what are its features, why organizations opt for VRS, and what is its impact. Again, as I said, that be it downsizing, be it VRS, both have an impact on the employees who are leaving as well as the employees who are left behind. Though I would say that VRS is a more humane kind of a strategy that is used by organizations. So, let us start learning about downsizing. So, downsizing, it refers to the process of reducing the size of a company or organization. How? Typically by reducing the workforce, eliminating certain departments or divisions, or even by restructuring the company's operations. And it is often done as a cost cutting measure. That means you want to reduce the costs that are being incurred by the organization so that you can improve the organization's efficiency and competitiveness. Because in this hyper competitive era, we have to be profitable, we have to be productive. But if you have increased your costs a lot, then at times you might not be that profitable. So, in order to cut those costs, downsizing is a strategy. Why is downsizing done? What are the reasons why organizations opt for downsizing? So, as I said, number one reason and the most logical reason, of course, is cost reduction. So, to decrease the operating costs, and once you decrease the operating costs, your profitability will automatically increase. So, to be sustainable, downsizing is done. Then another reason for downsizing is organizational restructuring. So, as I said in the beginning of the lecture, that the organizations are operating in a VUCA world, market is changing, the technology is changing, customer demands are changing. We do not have customer loyalty these days. So, keeping in mind all these changes, the organizations have to change, they have to restructure themselves. So, whenever they think of restructuring, downsizing might be used as a tool. Then another reason for downsizing is mergers and acquisitions. So, this is again a concept which is taking place these days, and it often occurs when companies merge or are acquired. So, again downsizing can be an option. Then another obvious reason for downsizing is reduced performance or reduced productivity. So, whenever there is a decline in the performance of any business, the first thing that comes to the mind of top management is to downsize. So, in response to economic downturns or in response to certain financial challenges that the organization might be facing, downsizing is used. Then the company or the organization can stop diversification and focus more on its main activity. So, we all understand what diversification is, that when you are indulging yourself into n number of things. So, therefore, it might lay off an entire department. So, apart, or rather instead of diversifying your business, you can just focus on one main activity and you can just lay off an entire department. Then a new technology or machinery can make some employment irrelevant, and the company might decide to let them go and modernize its equipment. So, we are witnessing a lot of new technology, new machineries, lot of organizations are automating itself. So, in that case again people are becoming redundant unless they upskill themselves. So, in return of the modernization of equipments, because of automation, because of even AI, artificial intelligence entering the markets, many jobs are becoming redundant. So, organizations might decide to let people go and modernize their approach. Then another reason for downsizing could be relocation. So, an organization might decide to relocate its activity to some another area. It can be some geographically new area, or it can be a new market. So, in that case also the organizations might opt for downsizing. Now, what are the methods of downsizing? Now that we understand the basic concept of downsizing and what are the reasons behind downsizing, let us quickly understand as to how organizations can downsize, what are the methods available. The first one being attrition. So, what is attrition? Attrition means, or it involves when the organization does not replace its employees when they leave. Because most of the times what happens is that when an employee leaves an organization, there is a vacancy against which the organization wants to hire a new person, right. So, they advertise that we have this vacancy. But what if there is no replacement, the organization does not want to replace people who are leaving the organization. So, that is again a method of downsizing, and this is one of the least disruptive downsizing strategies and can be effective when downsizing is a part of a long term strategy, because in this case you are not hurting anybody, you are just not replacing the people who are leaving, you are not forcing anybody to leave the organization. So, this is a, I would say, a milder approach to downsizing, because you are not forcing anybody, people are not hurt, because when you actually force somebody to leave, that can have detrimental impact on the psychology, emotional state of the employees who are working as well as employees who are forced to leave. But here you are just not replacing them. So, that is why it is said that it is the least disruptive downsizing strategies. The second one is early retirement. So, organizations might also incentivize the older employees to retire early. Again, this is not a forceful strategy. The incentive is given to the employees, and it usually comes in the form of enhanced retirement benefits. Again, it is not a forced tool. Next is termination. Now, this is where the approach of forced layoff is coming in. This is the most direct form of downsizing, where employees are laid off or are simply fired. This strategy, it quickly reduces the costs. It can also significantly affect the morale and productivity among the remaining employees. So, this is of course a more swifter way of laying off people and getting back the productivity, enhancing the productivity, but at the same time it definitely impacts the morale and productivity of people who are left behind. The next method is outsourcing. So, this is a little positive kind of downsizing. So, in this approach, certain functions or tasks are contracted to external organization, and this allows companies to focus on their core competencies while potentially reducing the costs. So, an entire department is maybe outsourced to somebody who is external. So, instead of hiring people for a particular department, you can outsource or you can hand over the entire department to a third party. That is what we mean by outsourcing. The next is operational downsizing. So, this strategy involves reducing the scale of operations, which can result in a workforce reduction. It might include closing the branches or departments or reducing the service lines. So, you are reducing the scale of operations, thereby increasing your workforce. The next is your functional downsizing. So, as the name suggests, it is a type of downsizing which is specific to a department or any particular organizational function. For instance, if a company decides or if it feels that its marketing function is too large, so it might downsize just that department. So, instead of downsizing from the entire organization, you are just downsizing one particular department. What are the challenges and risks? So, as I said that it is not easy for any organization to bring about downsizing. There are certain challenges and risks involved whenever you think of downsizing. The first is your employee morale and productivity. Of course, downsizing can negatively impact employee morale and productivity, especially if the remaining employees, they feel overworked, because see, if there are 10 employees working in one department, and out of those 10 the work is distributed among those 10, right. So, what if 4 out of those 10 have been laid off? So, the entire work would now be distributed among the remaining 6, because 4 have been forced to leave the organization. Now, you would be, not only you would be overworked, but at the same time you would be uncertain about your own job. Your morale would fall, your productivity would also fall, because you are under this stress that you too might lose your job. So, that uncertainty that insecurity would actually decrease your morale as well as your productivity. So, that is one of the greatest challenges coming with downsizing. Then apart from them, you also lose the knowledge and the skills of the people. So, when people go, they take the knowledge and the skills with them. So, when experienced employees are laid off or leave voluntarily, the company loses the valuable knowledge and skills that they possessed, which is again difficult to replace. Then it can cause damage to the reputation also. Downsizing can result in negative publicity and damage to company's reputation. And if you have that kind of a reputation that this organization lays off people, so it would be difficult for you as an organization to attract talent in future. So maybe that there was an economic downturn and you laid off people, but that reputation, that bad image has been built. So now it would be difficult for you to attract talented people. Then of course, downsizing has its own legal and ethical considerations. You have to take care of especially the legal considerations. So, companies must navigate legal requirements and ethical considerations when undertaking downsizing, such as, are you complying with the labor laws? Are you providing proper notification to your employees who are being laid off? Are you providing severance packages to the affected employees? And are you treating your employees fairly and respectfully throughout the process? Because this job is not just a medium of earning money, it also entails respect, dignity. So, are you treating your employees well throughout or through the entire process of downsizing or not? So, these considerations are also important as far as the human resource professionals are concerned. Then is your talent retention and attraction. So, top performance may be unsettled by downsizing and they seek opportunities elsewhere, making it challenging for the organization to retain and attract skilled employees. So, once you have started downsizing, the people who are the top performers, they also feel unsettled, they again feel insecure. So, they feel that if he or she has been laid off, tomorrow it might be me, tomorrow it might be my turn. So, because of this uncertainty, because of this ambiguity, they also start looking out for greener pastures. So, they would voluntarily leaving the organization. Then is reduced innovation and creativity. So, downsizing of course can diminish the diversity of skills, perspectives within the organizations, leading to fewer innovative ideas and solutions. So, once your morale is down, once you are feeling unsettled, once you feel insecure in your job, there are chances that the employees would start feeling less creative, less innovative in their job. Now, what is the role of human resource management in downsizing? So, we all know by now that human resource management plays a critical role in the process of downsizing, ensuring that the organization manages the reduction in workforce in a way that is fair, legally compliant, and as positive as possible for both the departing and the remaining employees. Because downsizing has its repercussions on both people who are leaving the organization and people who are left behind. So, the human resource management has to make sure that it is done in a very systematic and an ethical manner. So, what all needs to be done? Number one is strategic planning. The first one is that you must assess the need of downsizing. So, HR, it collaborates with top management to determine if downsizing is necessary or not, or if downsizing is the only option that the organization has or not, or you can explore some other alternate solutions as well. Because we have learned that downsizing has its own challenges and risks involved. So, it is important for you as an HR professional to understand that is it the only option that we are left with, or we can explore some other alternative solutions. So, they assess the company's financial situation, the market condition, as well as the long term goals. So, that strategic planning has to be done. Then the HR can also do an analysis of the workforce. So, they analyze the current workforce to identify positions that are redundant or roles that can be eliminated with minimal impact on the operations. Then communication, very important aspect of downsizing or any policy that the HR makes is how you communicate it to your employees or the people who are being affected by it. So, you need to have a transparent communication. So, HR is responsible for crafting clear, honest and timely communication to all employees about the reasons for downsizing. What is the process like and what would be the timeline. So, it is important for the people to understand the why behind downsizing, why we need to do this. And then it is important for the HR professionals to address the concerns. So, provide a platform for employees to ask questions and express concerns, ensuring that they can feel heard during the process. Everybody wants to be heard. Then another important aspect is the legal compliance. So, adherence to laws is of pertinent importance as HR ensures that the downsizing process complies with local labor laws, including providing the required notices, severance packages and ensuring that it is non-discriminatory, unbiased and fair. Then another important aspect under legal compliance is the documentation. Another important thing, HR manages all necessary documentation to provide the company from potential legal issues and that are related to layoffs. So, friends, we are currently learning about downsizing. Up till now, we have learned as to what is downsizing, why do organizations downsize, reasons behind downsizing, what are the methods of downsizing and what is the role of the HR professional in downsizing. So, we will continue with the current topic in the next part of the lecture. Thank you.